Have you ever imagined what it would be like to live with the real possibility of a colossal asteroid, capable of causing monumental damage, traveling through the vastness of space towards Earth? Well, that is exactly the intriguing and somewhat frightening story that we are going to explore today. First of all, stay tuned. In this video, I will reveal impressive details that NASA released about a possible impact of the asteroid 2024 YR4 with our planet. But make no mistake, the most crucial points will only be exposed throughout this narrative. You will understand why the date of December 22, 2032 could mark history. You will learn about the scientific projects involved in this monitoring mission, as well as real examples of collisions and near collisions that have already occurred in our past. Sounds incredible, doesn't it? Stay with me until the end to discover every detail and understand why the scientific community is on alert, but confident that everything can change at any moment. Let's start by understanding where the fame of this newly discovered asteroid came from. Named 2024 YR4, it was first identified on December 27, 2024 by a telescope called the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, ATLAS, located at the El Sos Observatory in Chile. Just imagine, while most of us were celebrating the end-of-the-year holidays, attentive scientists detected a bright spot that could pose a medium-term threat to Earth. This bright spot, by the way, has dimensions that are already eye-catching. It is estimated that the diameter of 2024 YR4 is comparable to the Statue of Liberty itself. If that weren't enough to make everyone suspicious, a simple initial calculation indicated a 2.1% chance of collision on December 22, 2032. In astronomical terms, the probability is relatively low, but not enough to make us carefree. After all, when we talk about potentially catastrophic events, every 0.1% makes a big difference. But why has this asteroid gained so much relevance if the probability of impact is not that high? To begin with, NASA and other space agencies use the Torino scale to measure the risk of space objects. This scale goes from 0 to 10, and 2024 YR4 is already at level 3. It may seem low in the middle of the table, but it is considerable enough to put scientists and governments on alert. Proof of this is the activation, for the first time in history, of the UN Planetary Security Protocol. This means that there is a global mobilization for surveillance and continuous studies, something similar to what happens when a hurricane is forming in the ocean. No one knows exactly where it will hit, but everyone prepares for the worst-case scenario. At the same time, the expectation is that, with more observations and data, this probability will decrease until it reaches almost zero. However, until this guarantee is known, each new discovery becomes a headline. And speaking of discoveries, it is worth highlighting the risk corridor that the initial studies determined. The estimated trajectory of 2024 YR4 covers a narrow strip that crosses northern South America, crosses the Pacific and reaches regions of sub-Saharan Africa and Asia. Countries such as India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Ethiopia, Sudan, Nigeria, Venezuela, Colombia, and Ecuador are on what we can call the front line of a possible impact. In this hypothetical scenario, it is not only the direct collision that is scary, but also the estimated damage within a radius of up to 19 kilometers from the exact point of impact. Imagine the potential for destruction in densely populated areas or with critical infrastructure. Even though it is considered a small object on a cosmic scale, its effects can be devastating at a local level. There is no shortage of real-life examples. Remember the meteor that exploded in the sky of Russia, near Chelyabinsk, in 2013, injuring around 1,200 people and damaging windows and roofs across a wide area. And that meteorite was much smaller than 2024 YR4. Another fascinating point is the joint effort of space agencies to investigate as much as possible the asteroid's passage history. Anything goes, reviewing archive images, old space photos, data from long-range telescopes, and even unpublished monitoring from amateur observatories. Every fraction of a second of observation can help refine the calculation of the orbit of 2024 YR4. It's more or less like trying to predict the movement of a constantly moving target. The more angles and observation time, the more accurate the estimate of position and speed. And in all this, there is also the expectation that, soon, we will have the most powerful telescope ever launched outside our planet, capable of sending images with unprecedented precision. With this new technology, the chance of identifying small variations in the asteroid's trajectory increases exponentially, perhaps bringing relief to those who fear any sudden deviation that could put Earth on a collision course. For those who think that all this is nothing more than an exaggeration, there are historical examples of events that could have caused real tragedies if they had occurred in populated areas. The Tunguska event in 1908 devastated hundreds of square kilometers of forest in Siberia when it exploded in mid-air. If it had happened in an urban area, it would have been a disaster of immense proportions. We must also not forget Apophis, an asteroid that caused many people to lose sleep when it was discovered in 2004, with an initial prediction of a possible impact in 2029. Since then, more accurate calculations have practically ruled out the chance of a collision, but at the time, the concern was genuine. All of this shows how, when faced with the unknown, caution is mandatory. That is why NASA, ESA, European Space Agency, and other institutions are joining forces to constantly monitor what is happening out there, in the vastness of space. And don't think that all this effort is restricted to large government agencies. Nowadays, amateur astronomers have contributed significantly with discoveries and monitoring. Many keep high-quality equipment in home observatories and send their records to analysis centers around the world. When any possible suspicious object appears on the radar, the contact network is activated. Thus, not only large telescopes like the one in Chile come into action, but also dozens of others located at strategic points. This global synergy gives us the peace of mind of knowing that there are thousands of eyes on the sky, ready to sound the alarm in case of imminent danger. And, in the meantime, the UN itself, by activating its planetary security protocol, paves the way for the coordination of evacuations, alerts, infrastructure protection, and other emergency measures, should, in fact, this or any other asteroid pose a real danger. But should we really panic right now? The most sensible answer is no. Science tells us that, although 2024 YR4 poses a small risk, the greatest probability is that it will simply pass by or, at best, move away completely after adjustments to its trajectory calculations. Furthermore, the capacity for human intervention in space objects is in full development. Programs such as DART, Double Asteroid Redirection Test, which recently tested the possibility of diverting an asteroid, show us that humanity is no longer so passive in the face of these threats. It is a reminder that we have tools and are working to improve them. There are projects that study everything from kinetic impacts to the use of gravitational tugs to alter the trajectory of asteroids. In short, the concern exists, but so does the technology to get around the problem. In extreme cases, the Earth has proven countless times throughout its geological history that it can swallow and overcome much larger impacts. Although this, of course, is no immediate consolation for us humans, who experience only a tiny fraction of planetary time. What we have learned is the need to remain vigilant, valuing scientific research and supporting planetary monitoring and defense initiatives. These actions are not just about astronomical curiosity, they are a matter of survival. The sooner we detect potentially dangerous objects, the greater the chances of finding solutions and reducing the risks of a global or at least regional catastrophe. All of this, of course, without fueling unnecessary panic, but with that sense of responsibility that ensures our peace of mind in the long term. And now I want to know your opinion. How do you feel knowing that there is a possibility, albeit small, that the asteroid 2024 YR4 could collide with Earth? Do you think our space agencies are prepared to deal with this threat? Leave your comment below. Let's talk about it. And if you liked what you learned today, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with everything that happens in the universe, from exciting discoveries to alerts that require our full attention. Your support is essential for us to continue bringing more content like this. Until next time.